Hello. This is the kind of last episode.
Welcome aboard. This is the mid-season finale of our Jojo coverage.
Yeah,
Yep.
We
definitely
are
the mid-season.
Mid.
Yeah.
mid. You know what else was mid?
We are hip and happening.
Bow.
Bow.
Ow.
Yes.
The worst Pixar short.
No, it
Mm.
was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
she did not need to eat the
captivated.
baby dumpling.
Oh.
That was a reference to her son wanting to marry someone. I don't know.
Hmm. So yes, we are covering, in addition to doing our rankings of like arcs and characters and such, we're also going to be covering real quick one of Araki's earlier works. It's not his only early work. He's did stuff like cool. What was it? Cool Jack BT or something,
Something like that. I don't know.
and Gorgeous
No clue.
Irene. But this is the most notable of his pre-JoJo work,
This is the
Bao.
one everyone knows because
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he was
he
an all-star battle,
yeah,
he was.
and it
yeah.
has an OVA made.
But it's a very poor dub.
Yeah,
What are you talking about? I watched it and it was amazing.
It was a lot better than the dub of Dog of Flanders.
I did how.
Um,
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, we're gonna talk about Bao in more general terms, but I'll still kind of go through it as I usually do. We'll start off with Bao. The general plot idea is that we're following the fallout of this genetic experiment place called it's different in each translation. I know the English dub of the OVA calls it Dores. The translation I read calls it Dress. The original Viz translation calls it Judas Slabs. So it's,
Okay.
yeah,
On the
yeah.
nose there, they're traitors.
Yeah.
That was the craziest thing. I started with the old Viz translation because I was available, and then switched to the other one because I realized it was flipped. It was mirrored. It did that thing they do for old manga sometimes, where they mirror it to help it read more as like a Western comic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because people back then couldn't figure out how to read backwards.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember I found one of those of Inuyasha in the little manga section of my college library.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop. It was it was wonky.
You're trying to read it and you're just like, what is this?
Reading left to right, I can't understand this.
I
I've
still do
never
that with American comics sometimes because I was reading a
Yeah.
Batman comic earlier this morning, and I was like, why are they speaking like this? I'm like, oh wait, this is American.
Yeah,
It's
I
just so
ever since
natural.
yeah, since I started reading a lot more American comics recently, going between them and manga has had me go a couple times. Like, wait, what's going on? Oh, I'm reading backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
But
I've never really read American comics like mostly at all. The only thing I've ever read was like the uh the the Avatar graphic novels.
are those
So
any good?
yeah, they're pretty good. So I've pretty much
I've heard.
only experienced manga, so it's yeah, it would definitely be kind of weird.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, Bow. The idea is that we're following the products of some genetic experimentation by. I'll just go by the translation I use. Dress labs, and we start out with what would be Bao's kind of sidekick, Sumire,
What are you
who is.
talking about? She's the main character.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was about to say.
I mean, she is kind. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I feel like it's mostly from her perspective,
It's
except for the
definitely from
part where
her.
she's not there.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, if it starts off with you, you are the main character, and you survive till the end. Same
She's
like with Koichi from
Yeah, I
Part
was
4.
just about to say she's
yeah.
like the Koichi to Josuke.
I mean,
Yeah,
pretty much. She's like the prototypical JoJo kid that tags along, like Poco,
Yeah.
Smokey, Anne,
yeah.
Coochie.
I mean, even when I was reading it and she was like falling for him, I'm like, man, this is just like Anne.
Was she falling for him?
I
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of. That's the
definitely.
vibe I got, like, in the first, like, two,
Uh-huh.
three chapters.
Yeah,
I
definitely like
guess.
right after they escaped and like and they like she like decided to follow him. And then also at the end when she like decided to like she wanted to grow up like to be with him or
Oh, that's
something.
true. That's
And
true.
she's gonna go wake him up and, like, go
Yeah.
scuba diving to get him.
I'm
She
gonna
won't
wait until that
yeah.
age gap
Yeah.
lessens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Not
wait
creepy
until it's
then.
not pedophilia.
That's right.
Exactly.
They call this the jailbait Wade over in Western land.
Jesus.
Damn, Mike.
Hey, you started this.
I
You put
did?
this you put this train on the tracks. Don't blame me for honking the
Technically,
horn.
Araki did. It's not my fault. I'm analytical.
That's right.
I picked that up.
So yeah, we're following Sumire for the first while, and I found her to be a pretty fun character.
Yeah.
She's kind of spunky. She like
Funky.
she's not just like she's not just sitting around here. She's trying to escape on her own.
The
And
spunky girl. She makes
yeah,
snare traps and stuff.
that's right. That's right. I'll defend it. I defend my say.
She's not getting
Yes.
captured like a helpless little girl. She's
She
gonna
That's
sets
for
murderous
later.
dogs
yeah.
on you.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
later. Oh my god, she even kind of looks like a female Koichi.
Does.
Honestly, when I first saw her, I thought she looked like Bulma from like early Dragon Ball.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's around the same time. It's like
Yeah.
84.
Also, question about this first scene. Why does she just have a scarecrow head in her room?
For fun.
Yeah, because I had to like read that like 3 times. I'm like, what is this? The point of
Oh,
this?
yeah. I at
Because
first
thought
I was
that
like,
supposed to be Bao. I'm like, oh, okay. And then it's like in her room, like watching the train,
yeah,
even
no,
though
I was gonna
it's
say
not in front of a mirror. And like, what the hell is this? Why does she have it?
at first I was like, is this Bao?
It doesn't look like the Star Platinum thing on the cover.
He
What?
does look a lot like Star Platinum. He looks like a mix of Star Platinum and Cars.
Yeah, because he has the arm blades. I'm like, oh, that's where he got cars from. Okay.
He just looks like
Yeah.
a Pillar Man, like a prototypical Pillar Man.
He just
And
feels
yeah,
like a pillar man.
it's his powers. They're all
Yeah.
like biology based.
How brutal he
Yeah,
is,
like
too.
the idea is like that he's like like an
It's
evolved
like a
human or
Yeah,
something, which
he's
is
like
basically what a human what a pillar man is.
pretty much, yeah. It's neat. It's neat seeing these kinds of ideas. Like this is like the alpha version of that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Sumere. She's here on this train being taken to these, I guess, taken to the lab, but
But
the ability, she has like a telepathic kind of. I don't really know how to explain it. She knows numbers inherently.
well, she could basically predict the future and like see visions of the future, and that's just one way that it can manifest.
That's true. Seems,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. She's trying to escape on her own, and she almost gets away, but gets pulled back. But along the way, she is pulls like a gear, and it unlocks the a tank full of water that this scientist guy, Doctor Kusuminome, it's his like main project.
Minome.
Yeah, and out of it comes Baoh, the boy.
He's there.
Ah!
It is he, and he is naked.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah.
this is around the time I realized a problem that kind of sticks with the whole story the whole time. It's very reliant on narration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I mean,
It,
you
like,
kind of have
overly
to
reliant.
be
That's true.
when you have like this complex of a story, like in such a
It's-
small space, without you're not able to have like a million characters and like
Right.
have
And-
everything just come out.
and like the
normally.
character of Bao in its essence, at least at the start, doesn't really have like an internal or external monologue. So you gotta find a way to get out these kinds of exposition and like say how the character is feeling. But like you can tell Araki's grown a lot by the time of at least even by the time of part one, because by then he knows like, okay, I'll keep that to like a character. That's how we get
JoJo
people like
still has
Speedwagon.
narration.
JoJo has a
Just not as
narration.
much, especially
Yeah.
Stardust
Yeah.
Crusaders and Vento Arreo when they have to explain culture things.
Right.
And yeah, he's definitely he learned how to tone it down.
He learned how to tone it down and like split the duty between actual narration and like characters like Speedwagon.
Yeah. And also
Yeah.
just things naturally happening in the world and being self-explanatory.
Pretty much, yeah. There's a lot of times in this story where like it doesn't really like Araki would just like show these things and wouldn't need explanation. Like when the doctor's going through like the security process, you can kind of tell like, oh, he's getting an infrared scan, but the narration will be like, these infrared scanners are scanning his eyes to make sure it knows this is Dr. Kutsunamayana.
I'm gonna be honest, I did not know what the fuck was going on until I read that explanation.
Well, there you go, Mike. They made it for Dylan.
Yeah.
That's right. It's all for you, buddy.
Well,
It's all for you.
I didn't recognize that it was a statue. I just thought someone showed up and was like shooting laser beams at him, and I was like, "What? What is going on?"
Whatever happened to the laser pharaoh? I must know. Is he Bao's father?
Where are the laser eyes coming from? Space Ripper stingy eyes.
That's right.
Yep.
Those kinds of names really like this part has a lot of those kinds of names. Like all of Bao's powers are weird word salad titles along those lines, with phenomenon put out the end.
What are you talking about? It's not weird at all. It's completely natural.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
It's how you name an attack right off your head.
Skinny hardening blade, bone blade phenomenon.
Stingy, sweaty, acid hands, sweat porcupines.
Yeah. Super sweaty ass hair attack phenomenon.
Super fist to the nose hair.
Phenomenon. Do, 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 do. Phenomenon. Do, 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 do. Anyway.
That guy just waits for you to say the whole thing. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they escape together, and they're on the run together. Ikuro and Sumire are just kind of chilling out together on the run from these baddies.
Yes.
And they go through misadventures, being hunted by these bad guys, trying to avoid. And that's kind of how a lot of these early adventures go. Them just kind of trying to get away, and then some baddie finds them, and something happens, and they run off. I think the one scene that I really kind of really liked is I think it's in chapter 3 where they need money, so they go to the horse betting tracks, and they use Sumire's ability to bet on the horse races.
Yeah, I thought that was cute too.
It was pretty cool.
That's very cute.
One thing I'd like to note is that the pace is so fucking fast throughout this whole thing. Like 1 minute they're just they just escaped from the from the place, and now they're all of a sudden at a gas station and just yeah.
And the chapter 1, it feels like we missed a chapter between 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely.
It does, yeah.
It's like they're already acquainted. They're already got some clothes. They're already have a kind of a plan of going on the run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just missing stuff.
Yeah. So that's the general idea for these first few chapters, is that they're on the run and they're trying to avoid being recaptured, and all the while Bao's abilities are starting to kind of come forth slowly, and in the meanwhile we get cutaways to the doctor explaining to his constituents the phenomena of Bao, essentially, and that it is apparently a parasitic worm that infects a host and gives it these kinds of abilities, and that it can be done with dogs and stuff. But Ikuro is the first human, the first human example that has survived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, eventually we do when there's a fight in a abandoned building with some soldier people, we do finally get the fully transformed Bao. I do like that there was kind of a build up to this. I feel like especially in these older manga, I feel like they'd have that eye-catching front cover image of the fully transformed hero right there at the start. But here they have kind of a build up to it.
Hmm.
And yeah, like we said, it's a very Star Platinum Ultimate Cars sort of visage.
Yeah.
Very stand like. Even now, Araki's great with poses. Ikuro's quite the poser.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
noticed that
that's
like right away, like just on the first like couple pages, which well, the first like basically the opening pages of the first volume, like before the actual first chapter started. Noticed a lot of those like cover page kind of pages, like he had some interesting poses and stuff.
right. He's also very into body horror already. Bao has a lot of very gruesome Phantom
Yeah.
Blood-esque kills with his
yeah.
melty hands and his shooty things.
Hmm.
All that,
Yeah.
all that good noise.
Yeah. Biological warfare.
That's right. And eventually, about like chapter 4 is when we finally get a real real tough opponent for him, and it is a giant mutated monkey named Martin.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
And they cut this from the OVA. They cut out Martin.
They did. Martin was not in the OVA. It was sucked.
Justice for
right.
Martin.
They didn't have all the best parts. They didn't have Martin. They didn't have the old couple. They for some reason they kept around that woman from the first chapter for no reason, and then she dies.
Yeah, they like framed her. The doctor did, or framed her corpse, and now nope, she sticks around. Sprout exposition.
That's right. I love Martin though.
He's
a good
great.
boy. He does kill 2 people, but
He's a good boy.
I thought
He was being controlled.
Just a child, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His single mom.
that's right. So yeah,
Look
this
at
is
Martin's smile. He's got big teeth.
so yeah, this is the first real like prolonged, dangerous fight for Bao, and it's sort of like the first real big step along the transformed state's like character development, because something that a lot of short series like this that get canned, like that they don't get, is that like they don't get to complete any sort of character arc or something, but we do get a sort of complete character arc for Bao. He sort of gains a moral center of sorts, and eventually his and Ikuro's minds are able to merge because he's gaining and learning humanity.
Beautiful.
I reject my Baumanity.
Yes.
Baumanity.
No, he embraces it. You're wrong.
I embrace
Mike.
the boo-doo doo-doo-doo, boo-doo boo-doo boo-doo.
Bowdy, if you will.
He's got a nice bowdy.
He's got
That
a
is true.
interesting Bauk story.
Ah.
I mean, did anyone else think that was like really funny? His backstory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey kid, I'm gonna play the banjo, and then the dad's like, don't play the banjo in the back, you're gonna make me cry. And then like 2 like dudes are car racing, and they hit right into him, and
Yeah.
like slaughter all 3 of them. And then they're just like, oh man, we hit people. Bye.
Play the banjo for me, son.
No, that's the evil banjo that makes car crashes. Son, don't.
Yeah. And then they just show them all in the hospital room, like, oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No,
Wow.
they're all alive, and then evil doctors come in and they're like, "Hi, we're evil doctors. We're gonna take this kid and put him in experiments, and we also don't need his parents, so kill them."
Yeah.
It's such like it's so like 18-year-old's first manga.
It is. My parents died in a car crash while we were playing the banjo.
Of course.
Cinder.
And then Cindy didn't go to the dance with me, so she died in a car wreck. And then
It was karma.
Karma.
Fuck. Uh,
No more
but
playing the banjo.
but yeah, that's that's after we get the first real like long form fight in the series, which is again the giant mutated monkey Martin.
Martin, my man.
Martin, my boy.
Martin lives matter.
Oh no, apparently not, because Baoh kills Martin.
Oh.
Yeah. After
But
Martin kills a woman and her son.
that's right,
But,
and that's
they
the
went grocery
first.
shopping, but they didn't get him anything.
That's right. Then
What do you
no
expect him
banana.
to do?
No banana.
Where banana? Where banana?
Except for Martin.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, that whole scene is like the first step. In a lot of these short form manga, you don't really get the luxury of like completed character arcs, but like Ao does have sort of an arc here, and this is kind of the first big step in it. Is that Bao like understanding human life, and it kind of grows a little bit humanity in him, which eventually blossoms in the last chapter of him and Ikuro's consciousnesses kind of merging finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He embraces
So
it.
so Bao kills Martin and Mr. Mummy Man that was controlling
The mummy
Martin.
dominatrix, yeah.
Mummy. And
Yeah.
Poor Martin.
as they go along their way onto the next piece of story, we get that backstory of them in the car with the
Yeah.
banjo and the death.
How iconic. I'll never forget it.
He does not look perturbed in this one shot of him in the hospital. He hears the doctor saying like, put it on the records that all three died. We'll kill the parents and then we'll take the boy. And then it's revealed he's actually awake, but he does not look shocked. He does not look upset.
I mean,
He
these
looks
are just
annoyed.
these are just the natural repercussions for playing the banjo in a car. Obviously, come on.
I mean, he's probably just like full of medical juices.
Yeah.
He looks annoyed at being
Anesthesiacs.
woke up. He looks annoyed that somebody broke his banjo.
He's
Where's my
doing that face.
banjo?
You ever see that GIF of Donald Duck when he wakes up?
Yeah,
He turns around and he looks pissed as hell.
he's doing
He's doing that.
Yeah.
in that phase. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, they find the next spot for plot to happen in the whole home of an old couple out in the mountains, a reclusive old couple. I don't think the wife has a name, but the husband's name is Grandpa Rokusuke.
Yeah.
And
She's just Ma.
he's
Yeah.
he's just all mouth, that guy.
Yes.
He
He's
looks like a toad.
He's so cartoonish compared to Araki's later stuff.
What
Yeah.
are you
Really-
talking about? He looks like a random background asshole.
He looks like a
Yeah,
random.
he does.
He looks like a random background asshole if they got like I don't know, super cartoony animators to draw them.
Yeah.
It's like, you can really tell this art style is very different from like the Fist of the North Star inspired style of Phantom Blood.
I don't know. He looks
Looks
like
like-
Loco Baroco's father.
Yeah, he looks like Tommy.
That's one of the sons that left. That was the son who with the bike.
Yeah.
It's like a part 4 art style
Yeah.
for the anime. Like, like Tamami or the store
Yeah.
clerk that sells Joseph diapers.
Right. I see what you're saying.
And his wife, who apparently is really good at pickling, that she notices a very JoJo-esque pose between our protagonists.
That's right.
They just get the mouse thing, which I don't even want to mention because I hate the mouse thing.
What's his name again?
I don't know.
Natsu?
No so.
No, so
It's the stupid animal companion that I'm
Yeah.
glad that Araki doesn't have anymore.
it's a weird rat thing.
I don't know what purpose it served at all.
Yeah,
didn't.
it didn't do anything.
It helps
Yeah.
in that one fight, and that's it. It's the bat fight.
I think it was just there for people to be like, ooh, an animal.
Yeah, it's the
Like,
mascot.
everyone had animal companions back at this time, so Araki thought he needed one too.
I guess.
Well, he was wrong.
Wrong.
But yeah, the old couple are they're not fans, but the old guy, he's got a good heart, so he takes him in. He's like, you can stay with
Yeah,
me or my
morals.
guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old lady's not for it, but he tells her to shut up.
Get back
As
in the
one does.
kitchen.
I mean,
Exactly.
essentially,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go cut firewood.
go pickle firewood.
He's in a suit in this one picture. Like, where'd you get that if you live in the mountains?
Yeah. So yeah, the next little thing is the old man being brainwashed by new agents of these guys with his hypnotizing gauntlet of sorts.
Yeah.
He says to kill Bao, and he almost does, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Ain't that a twist?
That's the whole plot of the series.
Yeah,
They try to
and
kill Bell, but they don't.
yeah.
Exactly.
At least this guy's a cyborg.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the only real notable things about this fight is that the old man continuously helps out with his gun.
Yep.
Actually very useful. This guy's gun.
Yeah.
Top tier. And it ends with Sumire being kidnapped by cyborg guy on his surprise hang glider.
And
yeah.
then
It
at
just came
that
out of nowhere.
moment you realize what the rest of the series is going to be.
Yeah, this is going to get her.
Yeah.
Oh well. I at the very least, I like Sumire enough, and I'm invested in her enough to want to see her get saved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good considering it's been like
Yeah.
what's this, like 5 chapters in?
It's been a
Yeah.
volume.
Yeah.
These chapters
Chapter
all
6,
have
yeah.
these chapters all have very wonky lengths. Like some are 20 chapters, some are like 40 or 60. The last
You
one's
mean
90
pages?
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say pages.
pages, whatever. Very odd lengths, but this whole thing is 2 volumes in length total.
Very convenient.
I mean, these things are kind of made to be put into volumes. You can't you can't stop you can't end the series with like an extra 3 chapters hanging.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't.
What are you talking about? You totally can. Just make a really short volume.
The very thin volume.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of how the rest of the series is heading for. But chapter 7 almost feels like a one-off, and it almost feels like we step into a different kind of manga because it starts out focused on this like
Oh yeah.
boy and girl. The boy's trying to get the girl's attention, but he's like a weird incel creep,
Yeah.
and she
Just to
likes
go to the bowling alley. He
she
wants
likes
to go bowling.
I
Her weird Neutrogena hair, like I
She
don't know what she's doing.
This is basically the chapter where the Stacy ditches the incel for Chad. That's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, she gets her foot stuck in like a
And he just
railway,
fucking leaves.
and the train's coming, and she's like, "Pull my leg out," and
Push
he's
the
like,
button.
"Bye, Stacy."
He's like, I'm not gonna push the button. That's your problem.
That sounds like a problem for a theme, White.
Look at me with my weirdly patterned vest shirt.
Yeah. This guy looks like if Teen Gohan was an incel.
Yeah. I believe it.
But
Yeah.
this Ikuro comes in to save her because he started the chapter trying to like make his Baoh powers happen while he's still himself. And here
What
it's
you mean
like,
his Bowers?
like Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
Yeah, this almost feels kind of like we're stepping into a more like superhero-esque story, which may have been what this turns into, with Bao like coming to use his powers as himself, saving the girl. We're in this more like modern setting. That's just how it feels. It's a nice little one-off chapter, and it kind of furthers the character arc of Ikuro and Bao kind of merging into themselves. And next chapter, there's Sniper. Cyborgo comes back with a sniper rifle to kill him.
Yep.
But he
There is
doesn't.
There's a really cool little section where the sniper rifle scope like extends backwards into his cyborg eye and they merge. That's pretty cool. I
Mhm.
enjoy that.
Somehow I completely missed that whole sniper rifle thing. I don't even know what that is.
Did you not question why he was picking up the motorcycle in this big one-page
Oh yeah,
spread?
that would yeah, I remember now.
Well, Dodo isn't actually that great a character. He's
He's just a
kind of a
cyborg.
bitch, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
So a
yeah,
lot of it's like, oh well, it's like he's pre-whole horse.
yeah, kind of. We also got a cutaway to Sumire trying to be experimented on, and for some reason she's now in pigtails and has like a pretty dress on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And just for this scene, it's back to like different clothes next time.
Well, it's also because she's getting the stuff in her head, so I guess they put her hair up for that.
Why the dress though? Why the frilly dress?
I don't know. It makes her feel pretty while it's going on.
I want to feel pretty while I'm being
So she looks nice
brainwashed.
for when they take like like the pictures for like the textbooks, like we're doing
Oh
this for
yeah,
this girl for good stuff, and
that's
so they don't want her in like a lab gown
yeah,
or something.
that's right. That's right. We treat our slaves very nice. Did I say slaves? I meant test subjects. I mean people
Patience,
that came here willingly.
patience.
Yes. Oh yeah, and in this second to last chapter, we also meet our villain of the series, the strongest psychic on Earth, Walken, the big.
Yeah, it's Walken, Chris Walken.
It was literally named after Christopher Walken. That's the
Oh.
origin of his name.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the funny talking guy.
Well,
Christopher
I
Walken, you
mean
gotta have the cowbell.
a lot of people talk and are funny.
Yeah, that's a good impression.
Yeah. Wow. Have you seen the Country Bears movie? He's the bad guy.
Wow. He was also in Batman
Baoh.
Returns.
He played Max Shrek.
Maximum Shrekness.
Yeah, and he meets Danny DeVito, who says, "You won't regret this, Mr. Shrek." So get the memes all you can out of there.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, we move into the final chapter, which is almost 100 pages long.
Yeah,
But this is
it's a lot.
it is a lot, but I'm at like this is actually when it started getting good for me. The pacing really
Yeah,
kind of picks up in my
Demon walking.
Demon Walken.
Honestly, it didn't feel like that long to me.
Yeah, it because it's paced well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's back pretty fast. Yeah, Bao arrives to save Sumire, who's been moved on to like boombox torture or whatever. Burp.
making her listen to Evanescence.
That's right. And also Bao gets a new ability too. He gets the Bao Break Dark Thunder phenomenon.
Yeah.
Phenomena.
Yeah. He learns how to become a, lightning itself. Yeah.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
You and these Bao puns.
What are you? You can't acknowledge them.
I just did.
Don't.
What are you gonna do?
Bow
Suck me off?
before me, if you will.
What are you gonna do? Suck me off about it?
Maybe I
Oh, I might.
uh,
I'll give you a bow job.
Fuck. Yeah, you have to add phenomenon at the end of there.
Bow
That's
job
how-
phenomenon. Put your
There
bows
you
in my
go.
mouth.
You're on fire. You're making me hungry. I need a bowl of cereal.
What a burrito.
Fuck. Anyway.
A hamburger.
Oh damn.
Bottle of soda.
I want to eat a banana, and so does Martin. Rest in peace.
Martin, yeah. We love Martin. Bows
Murderer.
out for Martin.
Rip Martin.
Murderer. But yeah, he breaks into the compound, and at first it's a bunch of like assassins and death traps. They try and get Baoh. They drop him in acid. They send out a bunch of sap spiders, which are gonna like eat him. But it turns out he can survive being eaten, which is cool. And
Yeah,
He gets forward.
this is also around the point where Ikuro's kind of like it's his internal monologue while he is Baoh. So that character arc is sort of like completed here. He's fully like merged the two personalities. Solid.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is intelligent.
And then it's his time for his first duel with the demon Walken.
Walken.
Who has
Wow.
he has an interesting psychic power of like molecules. He like vibrates molecules into deafness.
He destroys his own titties.
That's right. A tragedy.
Yeah, honestly.
His power is
for the love of
basically he could just do things.
Pretty much. It's like a decaying attack that happens to molecules.
And he can also like form a planet.
Yeah, I guess.
You know?
He's also got sick.
Consistency.
He's also got sweet headphones.
He
They're
does.
plot relevant.
Puts them into his AirPods.
He doesn't have them forever though.
That's right. It'll take a bit though. For now, Bao's gonna win this first round by chopping off his own arm to get free of getting stuck in a wall, and then his arm thing goes flying off, and the blade sticks into the guy's head. I think he's dead. Oh no!
Dead.
What do you mean they think he's dead? He is dead.
That's right.
You don't usually survive getting stabbed in the head because you're dead.
Yeah.
Anyway, he finds Sumire, and then a bunch of lasers get pointed at her, and he takes the lasers, but she also gets hit a bit, so he's angry. And also, his human eye comes out from under Baoh, so now he's fully himself, mentally.
Yeah.
I guess. He can still only say things like Baru and Wa Wumbu and Boo. Anyway, the doctor hits self-destruct, and you have 15 minutes to get out. But Walken is still up and at him, and he loses his headphones, so his powers start going crazy, and a bunch of scientists start dying in really gruesome body horror-ish ways.
Into tennis balls.
Also, Sumire was like dying, but then he realized he could just like feed her his blood and she'll heal.
I guess. Yeah.
Of course, he had to like do it through the mouth too. You know.
And of course, the narrator has something to say about it.
Yeah.
The faint scent of life in her. The scent that he sensed with his scent sensor.
His nose.
No. Scent. You gotta work scent in there. It's the scent phenomenon.
His censoring sensor.
Califragilisticexpialidocious.
Hey, searching for it.
Ooh, got him.
But yeah, he's got a time limit now. He's got a sense, and Walken's up, and they're gonna get out of there. They gotta get out of there, and they end up below ground in the limestone caves beneath the laboratory, and so does the doctor because molecules disrupting the limestone rock bed, whatever.
Yeah, they just fell down there, I guess.
Yeah. Baoh tells Sumire to get out, and they keep fighting. He actually took a laser from the room somehow. He didn't have that before, and he uses that to
hit it in his bouty.
Dude, this is the final bout.
Battle.
Yeah. That's right. So yeah, as he can smell the scent of the last 10 pages or so, he kills Walken finally by lasering him like from like the right eye down through the middle of his head and neck into his chest and then out towards his right shoulder. Guy gets like chopped through by laser. And also it hits some stalactites that luckily fall on the doctor and kill him too.
Of course.
Yep.
I mean, he was gonna die anyways from the explosion,
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's assault on the rune.
which
Also,
happens.
the lady from the first chapter, she actually lives in the OVA version, but here is where she dies too by stalactites after not doing anything in the OVA.
Epic.
Yeah.
Solid.
Epic and based.
And now we get an epilogue of a Sumire, now a little bit older, now living with the grandma and grandpa, and telling herself and the little rat thing that
Yeah.
she knows that Ikuro is alive, sleeping peacefully at the bottom of the underground cave, which actually probably is true because they established earlier on that while submerged in water, uh, the things that are infected by the Baoh parasites. Baohs are parasites, by the way. Um, they're like in stasis and don't age or die while underwater.
You could say he's taking a bubble bath.
A Baoh bath,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she says to herself that her vision says that he'll awaken when she turns 17, and they'll meet again, so that age gap won't be a problem anymore. I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
Honestly,
how the law works.
what a bountiful ending.
I
That's
know.
right.
What is it really the end or just the beginning?
It
I've been waiting to say that for like 5 minutes now.
was solid. It was a solid place to leave us.
Well,
That's
that was
Bao.
Bao. Yeah.
Bow bow.
I guess we'll have to bow out from this and move on to JoJo
No.
stuff. I got one. I got one at the end. I did it.
one.
I got one at the end. I got one at the end,
So happy for yourself.
Yeah,
Good
I
job.
am. Do I get my Oscar an hour later?
This is what it means to be alive.
This is what it means to experience content.
this this is the
Yeah.
meaning of life.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's now
So
time.
The
Jojo.
bountiful show.
That's right. About the world, life's bounty.
Bounty.
So yeah, we're gonna go through our rankings of I don't where are we starting, Dylan?
I
What's the
don't.
order?
Let's talk about stands.
All right. Well, here's the order we'll do it in. We'll start with stands, move on to characters, then we'll do openings, arcs, and then finally we'll share our rankings for the 6 parts we watched.
Yeah, and we could also
So-
just like talk generally about the series thus far and stuff.
Totally. So, Dylan, I'll give you the floor. Tell us about your 3 favorite stand-ins.
Okay. Number 3 is Heaven's Door. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it because you can
Nice.
just write in it that somebody has a larger penis than they actually have, and it becomes that. And
I think Rohan's done that.
yeah, no, he probably doesn't care, honestly.
He probably did it, but in reverse for Josuke.
Yeah, he did do that. I don't know. Heaven's Door is pretty cool. It's like pretty versatile. I like the design and how like uh somehow it starts out as not a humanoid stand, but then it is later on. That's
Yeah.
cool. I also like Foo Fighters as my second. Foo Fighters is cool because Foo Fighters is like a stand and a character at the same time,
That's
which
right.
is cool.
Yeah.
And then my favorite is Crazy Diamond because of the crazy shit that Josuke does with it. Like the time
Crazy
the
shit,
time
man.
when Josuke like he like destroyed the motorcycle and then like did a flip and then returned it back, and that was
Love that.
fucking cool.
Yeah, that's valid.
It is very valid. What do you what about you guys?
I'll go next. I'll be number 2. My third favorite stand is Sex Pistols. I enjoy I enjoy the design. I enjoy their individual personalities. I enjoy that they feel like characters and that They're good speed wagons at times, like in the Grateful Dead Beach Boy fight or like Green Day fight. Even number 5 even has kind of a character arc for himself. A single piece of a colony stand has a character arc. That's how good Part
Yeah.
5 is. And I enjoy
Damn.
all the crazy. I enjoy the crazy shit that can be done with it. It's not as like overpowered as Emperor, but that just means Mista has to be more tricky with it.
Sure.
It's very satisfying to see in use.
It's cool.
Number 2 is Stone Free. I enjoy
Oh, yeah.
string powers in general, and Stone Free has a lot of really great usages. The bridge thing, all the string barriers, the end of Underworld. Those are all the talking through string thing, which somehow keeps coming back, even though that seems like a forgettable for Stark power.
Yeah.
And it's got a pretty good design too. And my number 1 stand is Stinky Fingies.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
love the design. Love the power. It has a lot of really cool usages. I like how it's representative of Bucciolati trying to create new paths and trying to find a path out of the gangster mafia life. This is the only JoJo figurine I own. It's of Sticky Fingers. I have it right
Nice.
here in the box.
Steaky fingies.
Superman!
Superman.
Tell me, Ezra. Tell me your 3 favorite stands.
Okay, well, third I have Harvest.
Oh,
Because I genuinely like it. I like this noise it makes when it walks. I like the little "I got ones" that it screams. I like that it's kind of like a bug, but not like a scary bug.
Yeah.
I just think it's really cute, and I like that it's the first colony stand. I like that they're just tiny and run around.
It's not the first colony stand. Bad Company was.
yeah.
Right. Okay, but I forgot about Bad Company.
How
I
how
mean, that's
dare
fair.
you?
It's Bad Company. You can
No,
forget
Bad
about
Company is the
Bad-
most memorable stand.
I fell
Fun.
asleep during that episode the first time I watched it.
it. That's
I was
fair.
so
As you should.
tired. My second one is The Grateful Dead, and it's kind of for a stupid reason.
Is it because you cosplayed Prosciutto?
Yeah, and I actually had to sit there and like make it for like 3 hours making that thing. And guess what I was doing while I did make it?
Watch JoJo?
Listening to the Shonen BattleCast, the Black
Oh,
Oh,
Clover
yeah.
episodes.
Amazing.
I know, isn't that great?
It
That's
is a
good.
cool design.
Plus, he's staring at me right now, and I don't want him to get me if I don't say it. And my
sure.
number 1 is Star Platinum.
Oh yeah.
Because
Good
he
one.
is hot as hell. I think he's adorable. I like the little frying pan thing. I think he's cool. And people say he's broken, but I love him.
So hot and handsome as hell.
That's the thing about
And I
Star
also
Platinum.
have a figure of him, so that's nice.
Oh.
And it also has a dick. It has a bulge, but yeah.
Star Platinum is simple yet effective.
Start packing him.
I'll send you a Star Platinum body pillow for your birthday.
Ooh.
Oh, we'll get there in a second. Because I actually do have a JoJo body pillow, and it has to do with one of the subjects.
Oh, epic.
Amazing.
You're my hero.
I know. It's staring at me right now. It's giving me bedroom eyes.
That one and Grateful Dead.
Yeah, I know. Grateful Dead doesn't give me bedroom eyes, but I mean, it might. It has so many. Might be something
Yeah.
I'm missing.
All right, so characters.
Characters, Dylan.
I'm gonna
Go
do
for it.
this one a little bit out of order, just because numbers 1 and 3 kind of have to do with each other. So I'm just gonna do 2 first, and then I'll do 1 and then 3.
Go for it.
My second favorite is, of course, Joseph. I've been very vocal about Joseph being my favorite character, like,
That's right.
throughout the entire time. Because he's cool. He's got, like, he's funny. I like how he predicts things.
He's got strats.
He's got the strats. He's always got fate on his side.
He's hot.
And he's hot. Yeah. And he's got a sweet ass boyfriend. That's cool.
Abdal or Caesar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph's cool. However, I like Jolene more. Jolene is my favorite. Yeah, she's kind of like Joseph in that she could be funny and cool and resourceful, but she's also like a lot of the other JoJos in that she's can be serious when it's necessary. She can um like I said, she could be playful like Joseph. She has a good heart like Jonathan, and also like all that's just like all the Joe stars. But it's
Right.
cool, and I like her power. I like Stone Free a lot. And I just the main thing that I really like about Jolene though is that like she's the JoJo that like most grows throughout her like part. Where
Hmm.
she starts out as pretty much a normal girl, she but she like kind of comes to embody like the Joestar spirit and like the determination and will to defeat her enemies throughout the part. Um, yeah, and then with that, my third favorite is Trish for very similar reasons because she's kind of like Jolene Light. Um,
Yeah.
she kind of she starts out as pretty much a normal girl, but then she like grows and becomes a more like a an experienced stand user. Um, yeah, and she also has daddy issues, just like Jolene.
She's
Yeah.
like an alpha Jolene.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I will go next. My number 3 should be no surprise to nobody who's listened to Stone Ocean. It's an Asui.
Yep.
It's an Asui.
Mm.
I saw that coming.
Yeah, baby. The real question is why isn't he number 1 on everyone's list?
Uh.
Well,
Yeah, but
I mean, people really don't like him. But
I
yeah,
know I
I
love him.
like him personally. But yeah,
I know why a lot of people don't like him,
He's
but the
creepy.
reasons why people don't like him is the reasons why I like him. Because he just starts out as the lowest of the low, just this weird creep that nobody wants anything to do with, keeps making terrible choices. But God, he's just so pathetic at times that I just can't help but like him. I just want he's like a dirty old dog that shows up on your doorstep and you're like, okay, I'll take you in, but I'm hosing you off first.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
and yeah, I just enjoy the way that he very slowly grows across like the last third, starting from probably around Foo Fighters Sacrifice. He just over the course of the last third of Stone Ocean, he just grows by leaps and bounds, becoming a better and better person until finally he's good enough to start trying to let go of this idea of like, I'll definitely have Jolene like marry me. He's okay with letting things go and giving up his life for the sake of others by the end. And in the end he's rewarded with a better life and like possibly marrying Jolene in the end. And I can just be jealous of that fact.
Yeah. True.
Number 2, it's the dark horse victor here. Number 2 is Abacchio.
Huh.
I also saw
Yeah,
that coming.
yeah, because I like Abacchio because he is just my picture of what I'd call a perfectly utilized secondary character. He doesn't need constant showmanship and heroics. He doesn't need to always come in with the clutch save or have tons of arcs where he's the main focus under his belt. He just needs consistent usage and consistent characterization, and he just gets that. He has a couple of focus arcs like Man in the Mirror and Purple Haze, but then there's also arcs like Clash and Talking Head or what's it called, Notorious B.I.G., where he's not the focus, but he's present. He's saying things and doing things that are in character, and he's getting good versatility out of his stand, which Moody Blues I'd say is my number 4 favorite stand. And then he has like probably one of my favorite deaths in the JoJo series, especially the anime, which nearly broke my record of never having cried at a show or movie or anything.
Yeah,
So yeah,
You've never cried at a show or movie?
nope, not once.
What about when Boo went back home?
Who?
Boo from Monsters Inc.
I thought you meant Majin Buu.
Maybe
I
does
was
Majin Buu go
confused.
back? Does Majin Buu go back home too?
He doesn't have a home.
Well,
He's
no,
homeless.
he gets a new
Oh,
home at
no.
the
He
end.
lives with Hercule Satan.
Yeah, that's his new home.
That's home is where the
He
heart
goes
is.
to it every day after leaving work.
I can't
Home is
believe
where
you're
the
so
heart is. So
heartless,
follow
Mike.
your heart, and you'll never go wrong. Anyway, yeah, Abachio, I just enjoy because he is my idealization of a perfectly used secondary character. And then number one, same as you, Dylan. It's Jolene.
Wow,
Jolene,
she's good.
Jolene.
I'm bowing you. Don't take my bow. Thank you.
Nice.
But yeah, I love her for all the same reasons you listed, Dylan. I love the way she starts out as kind of a normie and then grows into herself, becomes like a real torchbearer of the Joestar lineage, taking bits and pieces from all of her predecessors. I love how human she can feel, and then suddenly she's this badass action hero. I love her journey, her character, her friends, her stand. It's all just perfectly coalesces into probably my favorite JoJo, just beating out Johnny from Part 7. And yeah, she's my favorite character. I think if I were to add Johnny to this list, he'd probably be number 2 over Abakio. But yeah,
Yeah,
here we are.
yeah.
Ezra.
Those the rules.
Ezra. Okay, my number 3 is Polnareff.
Hey,
I know. I mean, his ass is just so big. And I
it is
appreciate
very-
Nice.
that.
That's
No, actually, my real reason is I think it's good that he has like a journey, and you could actively see his development. Because he starts off as a villain, but then he starts off as like your typical like Greek mythology knight hero, and it's like but he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's like bad things. But as the story goes on, through Jay Guile and Whole Horse, and watching Abdul die, then having the Enya stuff where he's being cocky and not estimating her. Then you have Judgment where he causes problems, and then Abdul comes back to let's see, which I hate that arc, but still. And then you finally get Vanilla Ice where he goes full circle. And then you have Vento Ario where he's the mentor figure. So I just think he has a really good journey.
okay, but the real reason is sass.
He has a really good ass. I mean, have you seen that one shot?
Who hasn't?
Yeah, I know. Like, even as he's walking away in the airport, it's huge.
hate to see him go, but you love to watch him leave.
I know. It's used as a pillow. And speaking of pillows, next is the character I have the body pillow of. It is... Ours!
Oh,
Yep.
Hmm.
He gives me bedroom eyes every night.
Only-
Anyway,
I don't have a body
Cars-
pillow of him, but he gives them to me in my dreams.
yeah. Cars, I think, is a really interesting villain that I think people overlook a lot. And that is because, you're the leader of a race that almost died because they didn't listen to you.
he's the leader of the bunch. You know him well.
Yeah, and then you, like, go through, and then you're just like, he's just like this god villain, but still has, like, oddly morals. Like, he doesn't want that dog to die. He respects nature. He hates to see his planet go to waste the way it has through war and stuff. And I think that's interesting. And plus, he plays a mean lead guitar.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
And sadly, I don't have Jolene as number 1. She is very top 10, but not number 1. My number 1 is Jotaro.
Ooh.
And I think, and this might be kind of a cop-out, I like about Jotaro is what you don't distinctively, like, are told about Jotaro. Because there's a lot with him, like, because he doesn't talk much, and
Very
when he
subtle.
does, it's usually an insult or, something snarky. But I think a lot of it is, like, you can, like, see the looks on his face, and you can tell what he's contemplating or thinking. I think you get a lot of emotion out of that. In part three, like, when Holly first collapses and he notices, oh, my mommy's in trouble. Or even after Joseph, quote unquote, dies, and you just see all that intensity. And even like that final like clash with Dio, and he just throws that one punch while Star Platinum does, but you can just see like on his expression, he's putting all of it, like Holly, Joseph, Polnareff, Kakyoin, Abdul, all into that expression. And then I think when he comes back in part four, he's now the mentor and he has to work with others, which I think is also interesting because you have his relationship with Josuke, you have his relationship with Koichi, you have his
So reliable.
yeah, you have his relationship with Joseph Okuyasu, and it's like it's fun to see it. And then you full circle with Jolene in part six. I just think like the journey that he goes through also is just interesting to watch and how he changes with each part.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
Yeah.
Enjoy Jojo as well. It's OP time.
OPs. I wasn't too like sure about my number 3. My number 1 and 2 are very like obvious, and there was no contesting it. For number 3, I chose Sonochi no Sadame, the first OP. I think it's really cool. It sets like the feeling for part 1, and has like this kind of like more classic feeling to it. And it looks cool. And then number 2 is Bloody Stream, the second OP for the OP for part 2. It's pretty cool. It sounds amazing. It looks cool. It's got a cool like retro vibe kind of to it. It's nice. I feel like it fits with the times of part 2, set in like the 40s. And then number 1 is Stone Ocean, the best OP, because it's cool. I like it.
It is a good one.
And it's as much as I love it, I would like for another OP in part 6. Damn it.
Fingers crossed. We still got a month.
Mike?
We got a month. I would like to preface this by saying the JoJo OPs are across the board some of my favorites of all time. If this was a top 5, then Bloody Stream and Sonochi no Sadame would definitely be there as 5 and 4 respectively. Coming in at number 3, it is Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town.
Ooh.
I love the song. I love that disco-ass song. I love all the characters striking poses, and then finally it goes just up to 11 and they start dancing. I just dig it. I dig the groovy vibes. Number 2, Stone Ocean. Fighting very hard for number 1, but I ended up giving it number 2. It's just solid all around. Gotta love that breakdown. Gotta love all of the symbolism going on. It's just great. And a great return to 3D OPs as well. Number 1, it is Sonochi no Kyoku, End of the World. Second OP of Stardust Crusaders. This one took me a while to like, but once I did, I loved it. Love all of the symbolism. I love all the shots. I love the song. It's not a song that you can like easily divorce from the OP itself, but like that's not a thing for or against it. I'm just making a comment about it. But I love like Crusaders. It has a lot of very bombastic moments like that, and then you have the iconic Dio stopping the opening time, and that's just great. And that's my favorite.
Nice.
Ezra Ra Ra.
All right. I could easily make top 5s with Bloody Stream as 5 and Great Days as 4. But number 3 for me is also Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town.
Ew.
And I just, like Mike said, I like the dancing, I like the disco, I like how it has a cheery vibe, and I think the beat is really nice. Number 2 is also Stone Ocean. I think, again, it's something you can just jam out to. I like the symbolism, I like the whole thing of it spins with Weather and Jolene fighting Lang Wrangler, and then it transforms into the Foo Fighters popping out of the lake. I think that bit of animation is really good, and then you have the Manhattan transfer thing. It's just cool and fluid. And number 1, again with Mike, it is End of the World.
Hey now.
Wow.
I just think that it's just such an intense opening because you have like the whole thing with Jonathan Dio, Joseph Dio. It just shows like how long this has been going on. I think the clockwork aesthetic. I like the whole thing where you can see like them foreshadowing the Crusaders' deaths. I think the time stop that's just intense. Even Mike had to go when I was watching like, don't skip the opening. You gotta watch it, and I'm like, that's so cool.
It's so
Hmm.
cool.
You know
Yeah,
what's
it's just good shit.
interesting is I think Sono Chino Kyoku might be my least favorite,
Huh.
which is weird. I might be like on like how you
I,
said, Mike, where you like started out not you didn't like it and then you grew to love it. I
yeah.
might be just on that right
It
now,
takes
and
getting used to.
I just need to get used to it more. But
Yeah.
like,
It
yeah,
definitely takes getting used to. I will definitely give it that.
I just don't really like
Series.
the song very much. I think the symbol of all the symbolism is really cool. And like while I like what they did with like the ending part with like the time skip, it like in terms of like the song, it just kind of like puts everything like stops everything and just it's not very doesn't really do it for me.
That's fair.
Yeah. Next
Now it's
we'll be talking about arcs.
time for arcs. Go for it, Dill.
Uh my third favorite arc is the Requiem plays quietly. I feel like the vibes of this arc were just really cool because it's like um it just feels like such like a final like an end game moment where like up to this point like they were they were like chasing around like Italy and like trying to get all trying to get to the Colosseum at the end. And once they finally get there, there's just like once we finally meet Polnareff and like that get that whole reveal, then we get the whole thing with the Requiem arrow and Silver Chariot Requiem, and like things just like kind of come to a stop, and it just I don't know, just the whole arc. It feels like it just has a vibe to it. I don't know. I just can't really describe it very well.
It has a very
Um,
dangerous and mysterious vibe. I
yeah,
getcha.
yeah. It just yeah. That's pretty much it. And then my second favorite is Yukako Yamagishi falls in love. That's the arc where Yukako fucking
Yamagishi
kidnaps
falls in love. Yes.
yeah, where she kidnaps Koichi, and it's very I like the horror vibes of it, and like um just like the whole idea of Koichi just being trapped and he has to like somehow call for help, or in the end he has to actually take care of it on his own. It's pretty cool.
She's the first yandere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool. And then my favorite arc is Sea Moon, just because like this is the arc where Jolene really like shows off like what she can do. Like this is like the culmination of like her like determination and um I don't know, she just shows off like her ingenuity and everything, and like being able to like defeat or come close to defeating a stronger foe than she's ever faced up to this point.
Hmm.
And and everybody else also gets to contribute their own part and everything, and it's kind of like a team effort. It's pretty cool. I like that arc.
It's a good arc. I would just like to list off some runners up for my list. My runners up that I have written down here are Youth with Dio, which is the fight in the mansion while it's burning against Dio.
Good one.
The Pillar Man Santana, Pet Shop the Gatekeeper of Hell, Highway Star, Bites the Dust, Man in the Mirror and Purple Haze, and The Secret of Guard Westwood. Those are my runners up. But I will get straight into my arcs, my favorite arcs with number 3, Darby the Gambler. It is just too iconic. The original OVAs, they cut out everything that wasn't plot relevant, but they kept this. That's how iconic it is.
It's good.
Darby is just such a great antagonist. This whole quote unquote fight is such a breath of fresh air, so tense, and in the end it comes. This is probably one of my favorite showings from Jotaro too, because this is not a problem he can solve by fighting. He has to bluff his way out of this, and even at the end, he admits, like, if I had looked at my cards, I would have lost my mind. And yeah, and even though everybody like this comes down to Jotaro, it does feel like everybody present has a role there. Avdol is kind of like partly his speedwagon, but like also kind of like his confidant, being like, "I believe in Jotaro," and then Polnareff kind of fills his role of being Polnareff and getting attacked first, but like he's still his characterization's still coming out, and Joseph has a great showing even though he ends up losing, and it's just a great arc. I love it. Number two, also fighting pretty hard for number one, but in the end it came out to number two. White Album, because
Really?
he
Oh,
he
so me
didn't.
that was your favorite.
Yeah, it used to be, but when I was making this list, that came out to a very close number two. Even though Ghiaccio and White Album itself did not make it onto my favorite stands or characters list, I love both him and his stand very dearly. I think this is Giorno and Mista's some of their best showings. This is a very creative fight. This is a very brutal fight. This is especially brutal. I enjoy ice powers in general, and Ghiaccio is my favorite variant of being short, short range and not very bombastic, but like am effective because like they this was a fight where Giorno and Mista were always sort of like one step from death, I'd say.
I like the
And
part where Giorno sucked Mista's cock.
that's right.
It was
Oh
good.
yeah, that was great.
It has an amazing ending like that, and Ghiaccio and like all Ghiaccio really pulls it together as the enemy with such a great, like, funny personality. Like he'd have gotten boring if he was like a recurring antagonist or protagonist, but as a one-shot villain, he's just very very entertaining.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then finally, my number one favorite arc, Theo's World. I I'm not the type of person to like, oh, my favorite character is the main character. Oh, my favorite fight is the biggest final fight. But goddamn, this arc is just so good. It's I love I love how it starts, the ambiance of Dio's castle. I love Joseph and Kakuin against him. I love Kaku's final stand against him. I love Joseph like trying his best to hold his own against Dio, even bringing in Hamon. And then Jotaro shows up, and it's just such like a amazing.
It's iconic.
Yeah, it's so strategic. Usually, these final fights are just about like pulling out bigger and more bombastic powers, and like, oh, I use this beam, well, I double your beam, and now my power is 500 million. But here, like, the biggest turnaround is Dio realizing, oh, within my 5 seconds of stop time, he can move for 1 second. That's the biggest like turnaround. But you the you're just here for it. It sucked you in. You're being like, fuck yes, 1 second of movement. And there's so many iconic and amazing story beats. Dio throwing the knives, Polnareff coming in with the clutch save, Dio draining Joseph's blood, the road roller, and the final exchange with Jotaro's own time stoppage powers. It's all just great. I love it. And that's my favorite. Is rah 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 rah.
All right, I would have a runner up, but it's a part 7 arc. It would be Sugar Mountain.
That's a good one.
But my third favorite is, and people are gonna hate this, Wheel of Fortune. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I like sentient cars. I always think they're really funny. I like that the whole group is like attacked by it instead of splitting up. I think there's really good banter in between Kyuin and Jotaro.
Hey,
I
Ezra,
like
you
the
like
fourth wall.
sumo?
Yeah, I do. I like Subao.
Wow.
Yeah. I like that. I like that it's a giant penis reference in the end.
Yeah,
Um,
naturally.
and yeah, I think the fourth wall break is funny. It's goofy. It's fun. It was a really entertaining episode and arc.
I'm gonna respect that.
Uh, uh, my second favorite is Notorious Big and Spice Girl.
Hmm.
For the exact opposite reasons, because I am terrified of blob monsters, and I am almost terrified of flying. So, I mean, having that Twilight Zone-esque, like, appeal to it, you know, the body horror of it eating people, the fact that it screams, I think the whole thing with Carne is really creepy, and, you know, it just has that, like, good Iraqi horror that, in the end, is, like, overcome by Trish, you know, who was, at this point, you know, strong, but she didn't ever fight, and now that's, as her first fight, I think it was a really good victory. And number one is another like I count these as like the same arc, even though they're technically not. Yoshikage Kira wants to live quietly and sheer heart attack.
They kind of are.
Yeah, because they
kinda-
go right into each other.
At least in the anime, yeah.
Yeah,
But they really
I
do feel like
think,
a part 1 and 2 of the same thing.
yeah. Because I just think there's so many like feelings you can feel in like the span of both arcs. Because you have like it starts off cute. You have Shigechi, you know, getting a sandwich, hanging out with Josuke and Okuyasu, but then you get like the looming nervousness of the killer being there. I think the killer's reveal, like, oh, this is the hand guy. He's the one who's been murdering people. Then you have the creepiness of like him fucking with the hand at the sandwich shop and then eating it with it in public.
And then fucking it later, literally.
Yeah, and then Shigechi steals it, and you get him like stalking this kid. You think for a while, oh, okay, it's gonna be all right because he gets the hand back and he leaves, and then Shigechi stops. It's like, no, Shigechi, run away, and then you get the death scene, which is like extremely tragic. Then you get the extremely tragic Josuke figures it out, which adds to it, and then you have the whole Morio gang, and then moves into Koichi and Jotaro. They have a nice moment. Koichi, like, you know, he gets even more reliable, and followed by sheer heart attack, which is creepy, and you know, the little look over here. And finally, you get a really nice part 3-esque Jotaro moment where they play like the theme and stuff, and it's just good.
I get
I
it.
just like it. I enjoy it.
Good time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Onto our final list. We're going to be ranking our each part from least to most favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my least favorite is Phantom Blood. I'm sure that will be the same for everyone. It's not bad. It's just Jojo is really good, and all the other parts are better.
Yeah.
Stardust Crusader is my second least favorite, just because it's like the first part that has stands in it. I feel like stands weren't really like expanded on that well yet, and I'm not really a fan of like the whole like enemy of the week kind of arc system where they just like go through different arcs with different enemies that are very loosely connected, and it's just and honestly a lot of the enemies also weren't very like interesting in my opinion.
Yeah.
Diamond is Unbreakable. Part 4 is my third least favorite. I this is where we start to get into parts that I do really like. I really like all the other parts. It's just Diamond is Unbreakable is pretty cool. I like a lot of the things with Josuke. I really think Josuke is an asshole though. Yeah, because he is. And it has the best villain.
Yeah.
And then my third favorite now is Battle Tendency Part 2, which was my favorite for a very long time. Similar to how Joseph was my favorite for a very long time, and also Bloody Stream was my favorite for a very long time. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. I like Joseph. I like the OP. I think I I I kind of like the Pillarmen a bit better than like Dio from Part 1, just because there's more of them. And I like the thing with Whamu and like how he's like for like just what is it called like
He's just a fighter.
yeah
He's a
he
warrior,
like warrior whatever it's called. I don't remember.
Tyrion.
Yeah,
gladiator, Spartan.
sure. Yeah, Battle Tendency good. My second favorite is Stone Ocean. Um, yeah, it's really cool. I like how Jolene just grew as a character, as the main character, like throughout the part. I think having Jotaro there, like towards the beginning and then again towards the end, was pretty cool, like as a mentor. But wasn't necessarily there, so like there was a huge section of the story where, Jolene was kind of on her own with with her new friends and like having to figure things out on her own. Um, and then my favorite is Golden Wind because I just think it had like the Golden Wind is kind of like Stardust Crusaders, but like perfected in my opinion because it's like they're like traveling. It's like a road trip kind of like where they're like traveling and then trying to get to trying to solve get to the place they need to get to solve their issues that need to be
Hmm.
solved. And it's kind of like there's like a enemy of the week arc structure and similarly, but a lot of the enemies are more interesting. A lot of the stands are more interesting, and it's pretty cool. That's it.
Nice. I will say number 6, Phantom Blood. Yeah.
Yeah,
I I have a soft spot for it, but Araki is just gets better as he goes. I do enjoy the horror aesthetic though, and yeah. Number 5, Stardust Crusaders. Like you said, Dylan, I'm not huge in the Monster of the Week format. Golden Wind does it better, has it more interconnected. This is just like go place, fight, leave place, and then it leaves you. And it would be better if it had more fights along the level of Dio and Pet Shop and Darby, but a lot of them are just kind of forgettable and bland. Uh, like, what can you really tell me about the personality of the the puppet guy
he's
or
evil,
Jello Man? He's
evil,
evil, and also kind of an asshole and likes gross humor. That's the
but
general
mainly evil.
template. That's the general template of a part 3 antagonist.
Yeah,
But I do like all the Crusaders, um, and it's enjoyable. I do enjoy it. Uh, and I think if I were adding Jojolian and Steel Ball Run into this list, between 4 and 5 is where I'd put Jojolian, I think. But moving
hmm.
on to number 4, Battle Tendency. I enjoy Joseph a lot. I enjoy the Pillar Men. I think the Hamon battles are a lot more interesting than they were in part 1. My issues with it are mainly just that, like, it's focused on Joseph, which makes sense because he's a protagonist, but it's a bit too laser focused on him. It would have been nicer if Caesar got some more time to himself and maybe got a win. It would have been nice for Lisa to do more, etc. That's my general consensus on Battle Tendency. Number 3, Diamond is Unbreakable. Love the vibes. Love the expanded cast. Love Josuke. Love the villain. I especially love Kira. Uh, my main problem with it is that the big cast is just a bit too unruly, and Araki kind of loses some along the way. Okuyasu stops. Okuyasu is just kind of there for the second half. Koichi is just kind of there after sheer heart attack. Um, Characters like Yukiko and Hazamada and Tamami, whether you like them or not, they just sort of fall by the wayside, and they have their slots taken up by characters like Yuya Fungami and Mikitaka, who I like, but I also would have liked it if Yukiko got to do more stuff. I do love Mentor Jotaro also, and so yeah, it's just kind of mixed bag in terms of that, but I do enjoy a lot of part 4. And number 2 and number 1, I always kind of go back and forth on. So I guess you can kind of consider number 2 and number 1 just kind of uneven playing fields. Number 1 just has a slight edge over part 2. And also, I would put Steel Ball Run on the same platform as them. But number 2, I give to Golden Wind. I think it perfected the stand user of the week format set up by Stardust Crusaders by having things more interconnected. It has a lot of very interesting one-off villains. The main antagonist isn't as great as someone like Kira or even Dio, but I do enjoy Diavolo. I love all of the main cast. Giorno's very good. A lot of amazing stands, a lot of great battles. I think compared to number 1, which by now is Stone Ocean, compared to Stone Ocean, I feel like it's just more consistently good than that. But as we move into number 1, I'll explain why Stone Ocean's my number 1, and that I will admit that after rereading again, it is very much peaks and valleys. For every Sea Moon and Secret of Guard Westwood, you have a Dragon's Dream and a Yo-Yo Ma.
Ugh.
But even though it has valleys, the peaks are very high peaks for me. I love the prison setting. I love the main cast, especially Jolene and Anasui. I love the overarching story. I love Poochie. He's a great, great villain. A lot of great stands and one-off villains, especially the Sons of Dio. I love the sort of horror mad scientist kind of vibe we get partway through with things like the Bone and the Green Baby. I love Foo Fighters coming to terms with reality. Or life. I love just like the end section as reality is collapsing in on itself. Sea Moon and Main in Heaven, just like an amazing finale. And yeah, that's why and Jolene's character arc, as I mentioned, is one of my favorites, probably my favorite. And so yeah, Stone Ocean, gotta love it. Yoshikage Ezra.
Yoshikage Ezra, really?
Yes.
Okay, so number 6 would be Phantom Blood, of course.
Of course.
Of course. There's a
Of
reason
course.
it took me 3 years to watch this. I kept losing my focus. And, it's just... there are parts of it that are good. I just feel most of it is, like... I think it's really good. I just think there's a lot of unpleasantness to it. That, it's just... It's like not as enticing as the rest, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Right, next, next would be Jojoian, but I'm not going into that. Then I have, Stone Ocean.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I like every part of JoJo really well. It's just, Stone Ocean, I think, disappointed me the most out of all of them. As in, like, there are arcs that I left some to be desired. Like, a good example of this would be, Jumping Jack Flash. I kind of wanted more from that. Bill Has Lock, especially. I kind of wanted a bigger breakout. Bohemian Rhapsody felt unfocused to a degree. Same with, like, the whole section of Burn Dragon's Dream and Yo-Yo Ma. Just kind of feels like it just slugs around and you just, like, want more from it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Which most other arcs don't leave me with. Next would be Battle Tendency. I really like Battle Tendency. I think it's definitely a huge leap from Phantom Blood of, like, having a kind of a goofball asshole protagonist. And you definitely have, like, those otherworldly villains. It's more like it's less drama, more like, screwballness. And, you have the whole thing with Lisa and, like, the whole thing with Caesar and they're bickering. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to explain everything to you. It's like Joseph already knows stuff, and it just seems to go by more steady. Next, I have Stardust Crusaders. Stardust Crusaders I really like, and I get where people don't like it because of, like, the villain of the week thing, but I really like the bond that they all share.
Totally.
which I think is different than the bond in Ventilario, where everyone knows each other and then they all meet Giorno. I think this one's good because you have Joseph and Abdul know each other, and then they meet Jotaro, they meet Kakuin, they meet Polnareff, they meet Iggy, and you can have like that kinmanship like grow, and you can see that with every like fucked up thing they go through, with like the Death 13, with the Wheel of Fortune, with all that, and you can just see like their bond growing, and I really like that aspect.
That's definitely
And
the
I
best
have
part of part 3.
yeah, it's their bromance coming together. Then I have Ventilario. Uh, I definitely like their relationship, but I don't like Giorno, which is probably why it's not number one. And I think that him being like our eyes in this arc isn't great because I don't think he's that interesting a character as much as I think Jotaro, Jolene, Josuke, all the others were.
Mhm.
But I definitely like the world of it. Enjoy the mafia aspects. I enjoy La Squadra. I enjoyed the High Guard. I liked Trish. I liked Popo. I liked Mista. All of them. I think there's just a really interesting world and interesting like system to explore with it. And all the arcs were just like intense that way. Next would probably be Steel Ball Run, and then best is Diamond is Unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
I like Diamond is Unbreakable because each arc feels different in it. And I think it was definitely interesting to not explore like different areas, but this one like mysterious cryptic town. Um, I think it's kind of like it has kind of like a Buffy vibe to it, where I didn't mind like characters came for an episode and they just hung around but not do anything. As like it's nice to like just have that like, oh hey, it's Tamami. He has a thing that can happen to make this arc more interesting. Or oh look, it's Hazamada. We can do something with him. And I definitely think like each arc had more like stakes to it because it was so close to like Josuke's home. His mama was right there, and you had like the baby, and like even like the villains were like brutal for like a small town. Like you have Angelo, which made it scary because he was in his house. Kira, right down the street, and then you have like the creeping suspicion with everyone else who was an antagonist but not a villain. Like Tonio, you have like, oh, this guy's messed up because he got hit with the stand arrow and it turned him evil, like Hazamada and Yukako, or the guy who was living in the tower. That guy was expect him to be evil.
Yeah.
And you just have that like growth between everyone with every hardship they go through. I like that.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you just get this nice little group at the end, and you're just a family.
I think that's everything. We had a very good variety with all of our picks on everything.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised on a couple of those. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you surprised me, and that is our JoJo coverage.
Wow. I like JoJo.
I enjoy
Now.
JoJo as well. Our JoJo coverage comes to an end for now. One day we shall return for the likes of Steel Ball Run, Julian, and the still tentatively named JoJo Lands. Please come out.
In the meantime, I'm going to actually read parts 7 and 8. So
do it.
By the time we cover them, I will be a lot more familiar.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
And in the we'll reveal to you guys what our next big long super saga of episodes will be. But in the meantime, we're gonna do 2 more little one-offs on short series, is kind of following up on previous series we've covered. Dylan, what's the first one we're covering? What do we cover next week?
Oh, we're gonna go right into Soul Eater Not.
Baby.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
It's Soul Eater, but not. That's like the thing when I first watched Soul Eater Not, and I was talking to my friend who really likes Soul Eater. I was like, "Wow, it's Soul Eater, but not," because it's like a completely different genre.
That's right. Yeah, and that will be.
It's gonna be very good.
That will be next time. Ezra, thank you for joining us on this JoJo journey.
I just say one more thing.
Oh,
Say it.
Get about it.
I don't even. I don't know.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Thank you for that.
I don't know what that was supposed to be. Goodbye.